Exploring Reconstruction, Triumphs and Challenges in Rebuilding a Divided Nation. The Reconstruction era was a transformative period following the Civil War, aimed at rebuilding the United States, particularly the South. This era sought to address the complex issues of reintegration and the rights of newly freed African Americans, shaping the nation's future. The Civil War's end in 1865 set the stage for Reconstruction, marking the defeat of the Confederacy. The Union victory brought hope for national healing, but also posed significant challenges in reuniting a deeply divided country and addressing the status of freed slaves. President Abraham Lincoln proposed a lenient approach to Reconstruction, emphasizing reconciliation. His plans included the 10% Plan, which allowed Southern states to rejoin the Union if 10% of their voters pledged loyalty, aiming to restore national unity swiftly and with minimal conflict. Lincoln's assassination in April 1865 profoundly impacted Reconstruction. His death thrust Andrew Johnson into the presidency, altering the course of post-war policies. Lincoln's vision of reconciliation was overshadowed by Johnson's contentious approach, leading to significant political strife and resistance. Andrew Johnson's presidency marked a tumultuous period for Reconstruction. His lenient policies towards the South and opposition to the radical Republicans' harsher measures created political turmoil. Johnson's approach faced backlash, complicating efforts to protect the rights of freed African Americans and rebuild the nation. The radical Republicans in Congress were staunch advocates for the rights of freed slaves and sought to implement comprehensive changes in the South. They believed in a more stringent approach to Reconstruction, countering President Johnson's lenient policies and striving for equality. President Abraham Lincoln's assassination in 1865 was a pivotal moment, drastically altering the course of Reconstruction. Lincoln had envisioned a more moderate plan, but his death led to increased tensions and a shift in power dynamics that complicated the process significantly. Andrew Johnson's presidency marked a contentious period in Reconstruction, with his policies often clashing with those of the radical Republicans. Johnson's approach favored quick restoration of Southern states without significant protections for newly freed African Americans, leading to political strife. The Reconstruction Acts were critical legislative measures aimed at restructuring the South and ensuring the rights of freed slaves. These acts divided the South into military districts, enforcing federal mandates and facilitating the integration of African Americans into civic life. The Freedmen's Bureau was established to aid former enslaved people by providing resources such as education, healthcare, and legal assistance. It played a crucial role in helping African Americans transition from slavery to freedom, despite facing significant opposition and limited funding. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, granted African American men the right to vote, marking a significant milestone in the fight for racial equality. Despite this progress, systemic barriers and discriminatory practices continue to undermine true enfranchisement. The Black Codes emerged as Southern states' response to Reconstruction, aiming to maintain white supremacy and control over African Americans. These laws severely restricted the freedoms and economic opportunities of formerly enslaved people, perpetuating racial inequalities despite federal efforts. The Military Reconstruction Act of 1867 divided the South into 5 military districts, empowering the Army to oversee the implementation of Reconstruction policies. This act aimed to enforce civil rights and rebuild the war-torn region, facing fierce resistance from Southern whites. Andrew Johnson's presidency faced a significant challenge with his impeachment in 1868, driven by his lenient Reconstruction policies and clashes with radical Republicans. Though he narrowly avoided removal from office, his political power was significantly weakened during this tumultuous period. Sharecropping emerged as a widespread agricultural system in the post-war South, where freedmen and poor whites farmed land owned by others in exchange for a share of the crops. This system often trapped families in cycles of debt and economic dependency. The Ku Klux Klan emerged as a violent force against Reconstruction, targeting African Americans and their allies. Their acts of terror included lynchings, beatings, and arson, aiming to restore white supremacy and undermine the progress made towards racial equality. African American politicians played a crucial role during Reconstruction, holding public office and advocating for civil rights. Their presence in government symbolized newfound freedom and political power, yet they faced intense opposition and violence from those resistant to change. The Compromise of 1877 marked the end of Reconstruction, with federal troops withdrawn from the South. This political agreement effectively abandoned African Americans to the mercy of hostile state governments, leading to the disenfranchisement and segregation that would persist for decades. Reconstruction left a complex legacy with both successes and failures. It abolished slavery and granted citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. However, systemic racism and economic exploitation persisted, limiting the era's long-term impact on racial equality. The Southern economy and society were profoundly affected by Reconstruction. While some progress was made in rebuilding infrastructure and integrating freedmen into the economy, sharecropping and discriminatory practices hindered true economic advancement and perpetuated a cycle of poverty and inequality. During Reconstruction, education for freedmen became a priority. Northern missionaries and organizations established numerous schools across the South. These institutions aimed to provide basic literacy and vocational training, empowering African Americans and laying the foundation for future educational advancements. The northern states experienced a different form of Reconstruction, focusing more on industrial growth and urbanization. While they faced their own social and economic challenges, the northern states largely avoided the intense racial conflicts and economic devastation that plagued the South. Women played significant roles during Reconstruction, both in advocating for rights and in supporting Reconstruction efforts. They participated in educational initiatives, suffrage movements, and community rebuilding, highlighting the era's broader push for social reforms and gender equality. The Reconstruction amendments had profound long-term effects on American law, cementing principles of equality and civil rights. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments laid the constitutional groundwork for future legal battles and civil rights advancements, influencing landmark Supreme Court decisions. The Southern Homestead Act aimed to redistribute land to freedmen, offering them an opportunity for economic independence. Although the implementation faced numerous obstacles, the act represented a significant federal effort to transform Southern society and promote racial equality through land ownership. Reconstruction significantly impacted Native American tribes as policies aimed at integrating African Americans often neglected indigenous communities. Federal policies disrupted tribal lands, leading to displacement and loss of sovereignty. Assimilation efforts further eroded cultural identities, compounding historical injustices faced by Native Americans. The Panic of 1873 triggered an economic crisis that hampered Reconstruction efforts. Banks failed, businesses collapsed, and unemployment soared, diverting national attention from rebuilding the South. This economic downturn weakened support for Reconstruction policies and contributed to its eventual decline. Religion played a crucial role during Reconstruction, as churches became centers for community organization and social support. African American churches in particular provided education, advocacy, and leadership opportunities, fostering a sense of community resilience amid widespread adversity and discrimination. Reconstruction laid the groundwork for future civil rights movements by establishing legal precedents and demonstrating the potential for social change. The Reconstruction amendments, though imperfectly enforced, provided a constitutional basis for later struggles against racial inequality and injustice in America. Reflecting on the historical significance of the Reconstruction era reveals its profound impact on American society. Despite its failures, Reconstruction's efforts to promote equality and rebuild the nation after the Civil War set important legal and social precedents that continue to influence contemporary discussions on civil rights.